everybody, Forrest here, and in this video I want to go over the exact step-by-step guide to get remote access set up on your UGREEN NAS. Now, I want to say something real quick. This is true remote access. So what this means is this video is going to tutorial overview how to get remote access running to a point where you can use Finder or Windows Explorer in a remote location to access your NAS living at home. And we're going to be doing this using something called Tailscale. Before I get into this though, I want to bring a quick disclaimer and let you know that this video was sponsored by UGREEN. However, it doesn't have any review content. This is all educational, but I will be talking a little bit more about UGREEN NASs later in the video. All right, so a little bit more on Tailscale and remote access. Remote access to me means I'm in a hotel on a trip. In fact, I'm going on a trip tomorrow, so this is a very timely video to record. You're in a hotel and you want to access some files on your NAS. You don't want to use your phone. You don't want to use a web browser. You want to open Finder or Windows Explorer just like you would at home, key in the IP address of your NAS, hit enter, and be able to drag and drop files that way. That's going to be the focus of this. Now, what is Tailscale? Well, without getting too much into it, Tailscale is a connector of your different devices. So essentially, if you have 5 different NASs, you can connect them all with Tailscale, and any of your devices, your laptop, your phone, whatever, if they log into your Tailscale account, they will have access to all of your devices. So I like to think of it like a device pool, right? A pool of your devices that you can access from anywhere with one unified login. It's a really cool system. It works very well, and it's very simple to get set up. Now, I say simple, but I also want to say that this may enter unfamiliar territory for some of you. The simplest, fastest way to configure Tailscale on a UGREEN NAS is using command line, using the terminal application on your Mac or Windows computer. So you may be getting into unfamiliar territory in this video if you've never done that before. I know a lot of my viewers are more in the beginner world, and that's totally fine. But I just want to let you know that when you're in terminal, be sure you're typing everything perfectly. No characters in the wrong places. Don't be fast. Don't go too quick. Double check things. Just be careful, I guess is my point. I would say for those of you who are unfamiliar with terminal, with command line, proceed with caution and just understand, maybe you want to have your data backed up on another NAS before you do this, or maybe you want to do this to a brand new NAS that doesn't have any data on it yet. Just in case something goes wrong, you're not going to be up a creek with no backups of your information. You should always have backups, but like particularly when getting into unfamiliar stuff, becomes more important. All right, so what do we need to do to get started? Well, the first thing to do is you need to make yourself a Tailscale account. So this is super simple. Just open up a web browser, and in the URL bar, just go to tailscale.com and open up this website here. This is Tailscale's website. And once we're on Tailscale's website, you can click this Get Started, It's Free button up here in the upper right. And then you're gonna sign in with any of these services. So very simple, I'm gonna sign in with my Google account. Obviously, I'm not gonna show you that process because I don't want you to know my Google information, but you go ahead and sign in with whatever information, whatever account type you want to. All right, and once you're signed in, you may get asked during the sign-in process kind of why you're gonna use Tailscale. All you gotta do is say personal use, just indicate for personal use, and then also it's gonna walk you through a setup guide. You can skip it at the bottom. There's a little skip this setup. Essentially, we don't wanna do any configuration other than just logging in, telling them that we're using it for personal use, or if you are gonna use it for business use, be honest that you're gonna use it for business use. And we wanna get to this screen right here where it says machines, and we have our account information, okay? So this is what we're going to get to. This means that we have an active Tailscale account and we're ready to proceed with the next step. All right, the next thing that we need to do is enable SSH on our NAS. Now, SSH is a way to essentially configure our NAS through the command line on our computer. It allows for that connection. Now, with SSH, you really only want to leave it enabled as long as you need to. So after we're done installing Tailscale on the NAS, you're going to want to disable SSH at the end. So go ahead and log into your NAS, and then I'll show you where to go from here. All right, and here I am on the browser access version of my NAS. I just keyed in the IP address. I entered my username and password, just like I configured my NAS the very first day. And in here, I'm gonna go to Control Panel. And then in Control Panel, I'm gonna go to Terminal right here. And in Terminal, I'm gonna turn on SSH. And then we're gonna click on Apply. So that's gonna enable SSH and allow us to connect to it from our computer. All right, the next thing that you're gonna need to do is click the link in the description to pull up this website right here. This webpage is on the UGREEN NAS Sync community guide. It's awesome. And one of the UGREEN users out there made these instructions on how to install Tailscale on your NAS. Very, very cool. So have this website here because what we're gonna be doing is copying and pasting these commands here into our terminal so that we make sure everything is typed right to get Tailscale installed. All right, from here, we're gonna go ahead and start up Terminal. So Windows folks, you can go to your start menu, search for Terminal, open it there. Mac folks, you can just use the spotlight search up in the upper right, search for Terminal and open it there. Once we have Terminal open, we are gonna need to start walking through this process here on this website. And we can see that the first step is to type in SSH space the username, and this is the username of your NAS. So whatever your admin username is, and then an @ and then the IP address of the NAS. So very simple. I'm gonna go, if you don't know what your NAS IP address is, you can go into your little NAS configurator, scroll down in control panel and go to network, and it'll tell you right here. You can see mine's 192.168.1.20, okay? So very simple. We're gonna do exactly what it says here. So I've got that typed in. We can see I've got SSH space, the username of my NAS, an @ and then the IP address of my NAS. So once I have that typed in, I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter on the keyboard. There we go. It's now gonna prompt me for my password. Now, quick note for those of you who are doing this at home for the first time. As soon as you hit enter, you may get some more text inside of Terminal that asks you about fingerprinting. What it's essentially saying is that it needs to build a connection, a fingerprint, a little connector between your NAS and your computer to trust each other. If you get that little pop-up about fingerprint, go ahead and type yes, Y-E-S, hit enter, and that will proceed with this process. If you've already done SSH before, you shouldn't need to do that again. Now, the next thing that we need to do is type the password of our NAS. Now, this is your NAS password. So whatever that is, go ahead and type it in. Do note that when you're typing a password in Terminal, it doesn't show you typing anything. So you kind of have to just like blindly trust that it's working. So type your password and then hit the enter key on the keyboard, and that will log in via SSH. So I've just typed my password. I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter on the keyboard. There we go. And we can see now we are in. This is what we're looking for. It should say the username of our NAS, the name of our NAS, and then a colon, and then a tilde, and then a $sign. That means that we are directly now controlling the NAS through Terminal on our Windows or Mac. All right, now very, very simple. All we gotta do is paste each of these commands in turn into Terminal. So I'm gonna start with this one. Next, download and install Tailscale as described here with this command. So here it is. I'm gonna click the copy button over here to copy it to my clipboard, and then I'm going to paste it into Terminal. Now you also could type it, no problem there if you wanna do it that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, make sure that it's perfect. Got that all good. Let me go back and make sure that there's no extra space here at the beginning. I don't think there is, but again, just double checking everything. Yep, this looks good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter. All right, now it's asking for my NAS password again. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in my NAS password, hit enter. If you type your password wrong like I just did, you'll see sorry, try again. Again, it doesn't show it to you. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and put in my password and hit enter. And we'll let it run. It's now installing Tailscale on our NAS. All right, and there we are. We're back to where we can actually type in a prompt. So now we're gonna do the next one, which is sudo tailscale up. Again, I'm gonna just copy it to my clipboard and paste it and hit enter on my keyboard. And there we go. Now, the next step here is to authenticate, and it tells you this inside of Terminal. So this is very important. What you're gonna wanna do is take this line of text right here, this URL, you're gonna wanna copy it with edit, copy, edit, paste, and we're gonna wanna paste it into our web browser. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm gonna make a new tab here. I'm gonna paste this in here, and I'm gonna hit enter on my keyboard. Now it's gonna ask you to sign in with your Tailscale account. Use the same account that you already created at the first part of this video. So I'm gonna go to sign in with Google and walk through that process. All right, now once you sign in, two things are gonna happen. Number one, you should be, after you wait for a minute or two, be redirected to this page where you can see the machines that have been linked to Tailscale, okay? You can see here I have my YouTube test NAS and it's ready to go. It has been connected with Tailscale. The other thing that's gonna happen is in Terminal, it should see that that happened and say success, and then give you the option to enter another prompt. So both of those things should happen. That means that essentially our NAS has now successfully connected with Tailscale, and the two of them are talking to one another. Now, there's a couple more things we need to do. So this is where we're gonna hop back to this instruction sheet, and we're gonna go through 2 more steps. We're gonna basically stop Tailscale, and then we're gonna re-enable Tailscale with a slightly different configuration. So again, real simple. I'm just gonna copy this command. I'm gonna paste it. I'm gonna run it. And then I'm gonna copy this command, and you have to run these separately, I do believe. I'm gonna paste it, and I'm gonna run it. And there we go. We've now taken Tailscale down and then brought Tailscale back up with the right configuration. So now that that's done, I'm gonna go back to machines under Tailscale, and we can see that yes, sure enough, we are connected and running. So that is the configuration process. We have now gotten Tailscale installed and configured on our UGREEN NAS. Now, the next part of the video, I wanna show you on the client side, so your phone, your computer, whatever device you wanna connect to, how we now connect to our NAS from a remote location. Before we do that though, I do wanna quickly just talk a little bit about UGREEN. And the first thing I wanna say is they're a really cool company. I've had a great time working with them, and I think it shows a lot about a company to be open to sponsoring a video like this. This isn't a review, this isn't like a show off cool UGREEN stuff. I think UGREEN makes fantastic NAS devices, but this video is not about that. It's about nitty gritty technical. So A, I just think that's pretty cool. But B, I do want to highlight a few things. Number one, UGREEN lets you use a wide variety of third-party hard drives inside of your NAS. They have a big compatibility list. It's really cool. You can bring third-party drives, use old drives that you may have. Whatever you put into the UGREEN NAS drive-wise, they have a ton of variety of what's compatible, which is sweet. They also regularly update that compatibility list based on user feedback. I'll leave a link to the compatibility list down in the description. The second thing I want to mention is that UGREEN has an AI album assistant built into their NAS software. So if you are uploading photos to your UGREEN NAS, the new AI assistant will categorize those photos based on who's in them, based on different subject matter, all kinds of cool things. It's also able to recognize very similar photos and help you choose the best of the bunch, which I know for me, when I'm taking photos and I'm firing off tons of frames really, really quickly, trying to make sure I get a good one, having a little bit of assistance in that process is awesome. The third thing is they recently added Google Drive support to their UGREEN NASs, which means you can now back up your entire UGREEN NAS or parts of your UGREEN NAS to Google Drive. Finally, I've left a link down in the description to save 20% off on the UGREEN NAS series. So again, just special thanks to UGREEN for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate it. And for all of you out there watching, thank you for watching this sponsor spot. Let's get back to the video content. All right, now that we have Tailscale installed and ready to go, we need to do a couple cleanup things here at the end. The first thing is we want to close out of Terminal. We don't need Terminal anymore, so you can go ahead and terminate that process. That will disconnect. And then we want to go into our UGREEN settings again, go to our NAS and turn off SSH. So let's go back to Control Panel, let's go to Terminal, and let's turn off SSH, and let's click on Apply. All right, so I have this all set, it's all configured. I am actually off to California. I'm gonna go there and I will see you guys in California, where we will do the configuration of the client device. Essentially talk about, okay, now I'm in a remote location, how do I access my NAS, which has Tailscale configured? So I will see you guys there in about 5 seconds. And here I am in California. So it's time to do the other side of the equation, which is how do we actually access our NAS from a remote location. So I am in my hotel right now. I'm actually connected to mobile hotspot on my phone, but this would work on hotel Wi-Fi as well. I just don't use hotel Wi-Fi because of its own security issues. I don't like open Wi-Fi networks. But anyway, here we are, and what we want to do first is get Tailscale downloaded and installed to the device that we want to use to access our NAS. So on Tailscale's website, here I am right here, I can go to download, and then I'm gonna click on macOS and get it downloaded. Now it should be noted, I've also done this on my phone. I downloaded the Tailscale app and I can connect to the NAS through that device as well. So download and then install the application for Tailscale on whatever device it is you wanna use to access your NAS. Now that I've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and open up the Tailscale app, and we can see we get this little screen here where we can click on Get Started. So what I'm going to do from here is click on Install Now. This probably doesn't need to happen on Windows, but on macOS we essentially need to give Tailscale a little bit more control of our computer than a traditional application would have. So when we click on Install Now, it's going to open up Settings, and then in here we need to scroll down to the Network Extensions section and go to Information and enable Tailscale. We'll turn that on. Go ahead and type your password and click OK. And that's going to give it permission to run as a network extension, and then we can click on Allow VPN configuration and again click on Allow. So this is all just initial setup stuff, right? You're not going to have to do this after the initial time, but we got to get all this stuff configured from the start. Once that's all done, we're going to click on this Sign into your network button, and that's going to take us to the standard Tailscale login page. Go ahead and sign in with your account. And once we are done with that, that will take us to the machines section that we've seen earlier. Now you'll notice since I recorded the first part of this video, I have more machines in my list. That's because I've since installed Tailscale on another NAS as well as on my phone. So we see more here, but this is essentially the list of every device that you have logged in with your Tailscale device and installed the Tailscale application on. So at this point, the setup on your device is done. And now we're going to talk about how to actually use this in day-to-day practice. All right, so here you are. You sit down, you've got everything configured, your NAS is running at home, and you're ready to actually use it. The first thing that you're going to want to do is in your menu bar or your taskbar, you should now have the little Tailscale item. Now, if you don't have a little Tailscale icon there, you can start it from your applications folder, but you're going to want to click on your little Tailscale icon and turn on Tailscale. Go ahead and enable the VPN. That will essentially connect your computer or phone or device to the Tailscale system, which will then connect you to your other devices. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. All right, now here's the cool part. What I can do now is go up to this Tailscale button. I can go to Network Devices. I can go to My Devices, and here's the YouTube test NAS right here. If I click on that, it is going to copy the IP address of my NAS to my clipboard. So now that I've done that, Tailscale has been turned on and we've copied the IP address. Now all I need to do is go to Go, Connect to Server, or on Windows, just open a File Explorer window and delete out everything in the address bar. And inside of Connect to Server, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to type in SMB://, and instead of the normal IP that I would type in at home, I'm going to paste the IP address that I just copied from Tailscale. And as soon as I do that and I click Connect, it should be able to connect me. It's saying we're attempting to connect. Go ahead and click Connect. It's going to ask for your username and password. This is the username and password of your NAS living in the remote location. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in now. And here we can see immediately it has connected. So I can choose which shared folder I want to access. In this case, I'm going to go to my photos and click on OK. Now this is going to mount the Photos server directly to my desktop, just like I was sitting at home accessing my NAS on the local area network. All right, and there we are. We can see here is my Photos shared folder mounted through Finder to my Mac computer, and I can drag files to it. I can pull files off of it. So you all, I'm in California right now. Like, this is amazing, right? I'm using a mobile hotspot on my phone to access the internet. Obviously, speeds are going to be determined by your internet where you are, as well as the internet where you are at home, right? That you got to go through both sections of internet speed. So don't expect some blazing fast performance, but to grab quick files off your NAS when you're traveling, this is pretty amazing. Again, very, very simple. The key is the IP address that you're going to type in when you go to connect to server or into File Explorer on Windows in the address bar is going to be whatever IP address the Tailscale app tells you to use. So again, I didn't go to my normal 192.168.1.20. That's the IP address when I'm home on my local area network. Instead, I opened up Tailscale, I connected to it, and then I went to Network Devices, My Devices, and I selected the device I was trying to connect to, and I used that as my IP. But everything else was the same. We're still going Go Connect to Server or going to the File Explorer and doing it that way. So essentially, when you're home, nothing changes. You still use the old IP address that you've had forever. But when you're on a trip, you enable Tailscale, get that running, get the VPN connection active, and then grab the IP address from Tailscale, paste it into the server connection window, however you normally do that, and boom, you're good to go. Now, one other thing I will show is that this does work also if you're trying to connect through the web browser. So say you have the UGREEN remote access turned off, you're just using Tailscale. If I go and open Safari, and again, I go to my Tailscale app, I am connected at the moment. I go to Network Devices, My Devices, YouTube Test NAS, and I paste this IP address into my web browser. If I connect to that, it's going to actually connect to the NAS through the browser. So if I need to change any configuration settings or change anything like that, I can do it this way as well. So very powerful. Also, I'll say using the Files app on your phone is the same. As long as you have Tailscale installed on your phone, you can enable Tailscale on your phone, grab the IP address, connect with the Files app, and grab files off that way. So works on phone, works on computer, secure. It's really, truly awesome. All right, everybody, that is it for this video. So hopefully you have the skills you need now to get true remote access set up on your NAS. Works through the web browser, works through Finder, works through Windows Explorer, works on Mac, PC, Linux, whatever it is you're trying to use, it just works using Tailscale. So if you guys did appreciate this video, I did put quite a bit of time into it, drop a like down below, hit subscribe to stay up to date with future videos, and lastly, leave me a comment if you have any questions, if things don't work, help each other out down there. This is one of those things when you get into the NAS world, it's new for a lot of folks, and I understand that, so I'm happy to help. So are so many other people out there in the community. Let me know down below. All right, everybody, thank you, and I will catch you in a future video.